So people often ask me about the REVO and what it means. So I'm going to give an understanding to you this evening. REVO is short for revolution. It's a thought process mixed in with action and behavior. And what it does is it gives you want a mission to change the world, not to be changed by the world. Do what's never been done before and go further than anyone's ever gone. Now that's the blueprint right there. I feel like revolution changes the world because it gives you the ability to change something beautiful and even more beautiful. It gives you the ability to change something that was bad and turn it into good, right? If you got that mind process like that, and it shows up into your thoughts, it shows up into your behavior and action, I feel like you're really doing God's work, right? So I learned the beginning stages of it. I learned, and this is like not even really me studying it. It was just like I was put in it because my granny and them back in the day, they used to be Panthers. They was under that influence in St. Louis. So when I used to come down to St. Louis, I would just be in that aura, right? And I was in a house with foster kids. Now, what they did back in them times and everything, like my granny and them, they used to save them children in the projects and like bring them in the house. It was like way different than it is kind of like now. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people still got that old school type of mindset, but that's where I saw it at. Like, so if the parents was out there like strung out on drugs or whatever it may be, they wouldn't report them kids, whatever like that. They would bring the kids inside their own house, feed them, clothe them if they could, until they could get things situated with the mom and the pops and everything. So it was like a real community love. Like I grew up in that. Like I was like, what, 4 or 5 years old. Like, going like back and forth and everything. You know what I'm saying? So I seen that. Like I lived that. That got put on my soul like that. And when I looked at the community and I seen who was like operating like that, because my granny wasn't the only one, it was women doing it. It wasn't men. You know what I mean? Men at that time were taking young boys and doing crazy shit with them, like fucking killing people and fighting in gang wars and all that type of shit. These women were taking the children and they was giving them nurture and they was giving them love and they was giving them hope and everything like that. That's why when you see like most foster care parents and most daycares, the owners are like women and shit. Like you're gonna be very hard pressed to find a male that owns a daycare center. You know what I'm saying? So that's where it began with me. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the things that I was taught from like their experiences and their stories and everything like that, when they used to talk about the 60s and everything. Because you gotta imagine, man, you were a kid, right? And you know what I'm saying? And I want to put you in the mindset, just say we was like out on camp and everything, it's the bonfire and all that type of shit, and they telling you these horror stories to scare you. Well, we used to sit in the basement and we used to just be down there with our snacks and everything like that. We actually had the candle going or whatever, and they used to tell us these fucking Malcolm X stories and shit and Black Panther stories and shit like that. That's like what we was doing. So when he was teaching us that, it was just like, it just get on you, man. It just pops in your brain. So that's where it began with me. So when we talk about revolution over here, we're not necessarily talking about like violence and shit like that. I think people get it like fucked up like that. All revolution ain't violent. The first revolution starts in being able to change your mind on shit. That's the beginning part of it. You know what I'm saying? You got to change your mind from one way to another way in order to have a better life type of situation. Because that's what revolution is. If you look at the Revolutionary War, you know what I'm saying? They was, America, well, they wasn't America, but George Washington, all of them, was trying to be independent from Great Britain. So they had to have a Revolutionary War in order, whoever won that war was going to be independent. You're going to have your own nation. You're going to have your own way you're going to run shit. You're not going to be no fucking slave no more. That's what revolution is. We're not being a slave to society. We're going to be self-governed. We're going to create laws and policies and things that are aligned with our soul, not society's soul, our soul, to be able to get to our God-given purpose, and be able to do the things that we need to be able to do to be better individuals to our family and to our children. Now, when you hear me talk about the Q's, um, it does mean queen, but I revolutionized the word to just the alphabet Q, right? I didn't want to use the definitions. Like, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because we got certain definitions. You know what I mean? I'm in the world and everything like that. People hold you by definitions that were created by other individuals, right? So if I say queen, you're gonna look that up somewhere and you're gonna be like, okay, that's what he meant. No, that's not what I meant. I'm gonna tell you what I meant. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I see a lot of people in the conscious community and stuff when they talk about God, like everybody would have their own. It's like so many different fucking definitions of God. You really gotta ask a person, what's your own definition? So we revolutionized it to just the alphabet, and we're gonna build off of that. Now, being a Q is a reflection off of being a revo. You know what I'm saying? And people ask me, yo, why we don't get to see the Qs and why you don't post pictures of them up and all that type of stuff so we can see who they is and all that type of stuff, right? And I want people to truly understand, man, we in a war for real. This is not no movie or fake shit. We in a war to destroy unrighteous energy that's stopping a woman, right, from getting to her God-given purpose and being able to build empires for herself and for her children. That's our war. You know what I'm saying? So now, let me take you back now. I grew up in Milwaukee. I grew up in all different type of spots, but just like in LA, you see like Crips and Bloods, right? You know what I'm saying? In Milwaukee, you got Vice Lords and GDs, right? So what I noticed in that situation is that you can identify somebody by what colors they got on. You can identify somebody in Milwaukee what gang they in by the way they wear their hat. I don't want the Qs to die. I want the Qs to live. I don't want somebody to see them and be like, oh, that's a Q, and whatever weird shit you got on your brain, you want to do something to them and shit. No, a lot of black males is in the cemetery based off of just wearing a certain color. And some of them kids were killed and they wouldn't even know gang members. They just had the color on because they liked the color. So I revolutionized that shit. I was like, fuck that. I'm not doing that. I'm not repeating that past shit. So yeah, you may not see them because sometimes this is a war for real. Sometimes the cues are going to be sitting right next to you because it's a thought process. It's not about how you look. It's the thought process. It's the thought. It's the behavior. It's the action that all lines up. So it's to preserve life, dude. It's not about, you know how people say I'm a ride and die for you. I'm kind of like, man, I want the cues to live. You know what I'm saying? And it's that unrighteous energy and it's some childhood traumas that's stopping them from being able to live the way that they want to be able to live. You know what I'm saying? So it's a war against unrighteous energy. That's what it is. Anything that's going to stop them from getting their God-given purpose, like I said, and build them empires. She needs to be self-governed, independent. She shouldn't be punching no clock. She shouldn't be having no job. She shouldn't be a slave. You know what I'm saying? She should be able to have the ability to build her own empire because I see my fucking mama do it. So I know, and she did it way back in the day. So I know women can do it. And women right now know they can do it. Right now they're in jobs they don't even want to really be at. Right? They got bigger ambitions and everything like that. And a lot of time it's the unrighteous energy that's around them that's sucking that energy out of them. They're giving their energy to unrighteous people. They're not taking their energy and giving it to themselves so they can be more righteous. They're giving it to other people. And other people's taking that energy and being unrighteous with it. And I'm just like, and I see it too much. Like, I'm like, fuck that. We're not doing that shit.